Welcome to your Daily 5 for Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. Lando and I recently replayed, and I think we talked about this on the show, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, a game that when it was initially released was one we didn't really enjoy all that much because of all the gear score stuff in it, but that we came back to and found that it had been updated in such a way that it became a really fun game to play. And we went through and we had a blast. But after that, we wanted to try something a little bit newer, something that had been kind of on our watch list for a while. And that was the most recent entry in the Borderlands series, a kind of spin-off of a DLC, because this is basically an expanded version of Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep from Borderlands 3, I want to say, or maybe it was 2, I don't remember. But basically, this is a full game that is called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And this is an entire Borderlands game based around the idea of Tiny Tina, a character that introduced in Borderlands 2, I believe I do have that right. And now she is doing a tabletop game that is played as a first-person shooter. But basically, it's Borderlands with fantasy skinning on it. And we went in and we expected it to be more of basically what we've enjoyed about Borderlands so far, which we've had a good time with. I mean, you know, the formula is very well known by this point, but if you like it, you like it. And it's certainly not like we haven't played other games that are basically just remixed versions. I mean, we love the Far Cry series, and that's the same game every single time. So we went in and we were expecting, okay, this is probably going to be big and colorful, and it's going to be a fantasy version, and it's going to do some things differently, and we'll have a good time with it. You know, probably not play it for all that long, because Borderlands games don't last a tremendous amount of time, and that's okay. But we were expecting for it to be kind of almost like a New Dawn version of Borderlands, where Far Cry New Dawn was a colorful, interesting kind of spin on it, even though it was a little bit on the shallow side. But I gotta tell you, we quit on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands inside of a couple hours. It may not have even been 2 hours, because I can't put my finger exactly on what didn't work for the two of us, but we both kind of just fell into this very bored repetition with it. And you might say, well, Borderlands is repetition. All the games are basically the same, but there was something worse about this one. And for me in particular, I actually dozed off while we were playing. It was so automatic and so brainless that I actually kind of nodded off a few times during it, and I wasn't particularly tired. I just didn't have any interest in what I was doing. And, you know, we'll I'm sure, talk about this on Friday, because Lando's already kind of he's already mentioned he wants to bring it up, because we were both really surprised. We expected, I mean, don't get me wrong, we didn't think it was going to blow our socks off or anything. You know, at this point, again, the Borderlands formula is the Borderlands formula, but we've enjoyed one. Well, not one. No, did we play one? I think we did play one. 1, 2, the pre-sequel, and 3. We had a good time. We liked the DLC. We liked the Dragon's Keep DLC. We had a good time with that one. And so we thought, okay, this will be a fun diversion for a little while. And instead, and it wasn't just me. I mean, Lando, we both kind of arrived at this point where we hadn't really said anything about what we were playing for a while, and we were just kind of shooting things. And I think it became very obvious to the both of us that neither of us was really all that interested in what we were doing. And we just got to the end of the I think it was the second time we played it, and we both were like, yeah, we're done with this. This is not fun. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a functionally defective game, but it's just not a fun game. And ultimately, you know, whatever the bugs that some games have had and all the rest of it, we can usually have some fun at the game's expense. If there's some physics defects, that type of thing, we usually have a good time with that. So even a game that isn't 100% working can still be fun. And at the same time, I don't think we expected it to be a transformative Borderlands experience. We didn't really expect it to be a role-playing game necessarily. But it really just came off as very empty, and that the formula had run out of gas. I don't know if that's true, if there's a Borderlands 4. I'm not saying we wouldn't be open to playing it. And I think the Tiny Tina character too. That character is miserable. A whole game under that character yakking away in the background is awful. And that probably really put the nail in the coffin. Maybe without Tina constantly talking in that terrible voice with the old saggy jokes that aren't funny to begin with and don't get any funnier the more you hear her say them. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was a 1-2 punch of, okay, the mechanics are very, very formulaic at this point, on top of the fact that our narrator was sonically annoying. And that really did it. So, you know, we went into Tiny Tina hoping that it was going to be a fun Dragon's Keep type of romp, but, well, we tried. We tried, everybody. We did try. We gave it a fair shake, couple hours, and at the point where I'm falling asleep during a game, then I think that tells me that you've lost us. So, Wonderlands may be wonderful for some people, but not so much for us. Later.